Well, I like making food that tastes good, and I don't even mind making food that tastes bad. But if I had to choose, I think I'd pick the former. So if you want to know how to make it a little bit better, but maybe not quite as good as it maybe could be, I think that you should listen to what I'm talking about. And if you learn a little something from this, well, I hope it served a purpose, and hey, that's what we're here for. Good, better. Nailed it. Woo!
Hello, and welcome to the Cook Better podcast. My name is Corey, and I am excited to get back into another podcast. It has been a while. It's been a minute. I think 3 weeks. That's not good. It's really not good. That's, you do a podcast, and they say that the biggest thing is consistency, and I have been very inconsistent, especially as of late. But I want to be honest with you. I'm going to be 100% honest, and I've been finding it hard. And here's why. Because recording a podcast is not hard. Despite what, and maybe that's why my podcast is out here. Maybe that's why others are out. It's just, it really is a simple thing to record a podcast. It's not that difficult. You need a microphone, you need a computer, you need an interface, and you've got it. And your voice can be heard. Isn't that awesome? That's crazy. It's so cool that's an option for anybody, for myself. That's cool that's an option. The difficult part about it is, and if you're listening to this, then you are not, you're listening to it. So that's not difficult. The difficult part is getting it to catch on. And I've got like a Facebook account. I'm a millennial. I'm not Gen X or whatever, but I'm a millennial, and I've got a Facebook account. I hate Facebook. I don't want to use it. And I don't like the social media that I have. And I don't really use it for anything other than just looking at stuff that, like every other news source, makes you mad because of the algorithm that feeds you stuff, whatever. So, to really make this successful, you got to be on Instagram, Facebook, be posting things, be doing little video clips. And I'd love to do video clips of myself cooking. I really would. But it's something that requires a lot more than I want to give. And that might sound kind of weird, but it's the truth. It's the reality. It's where I'm at. I love cooking, and I love making good food. I love eating good food, number one. And there are a lot of things that I've made that I thought, if I just record this video, then I could do that, and then the people would like that. And if you're listening to this, then I'm preaching to the choir. What I'm a little, and I'm going to be 100% honest here. I'm a little disappointed, not with anybody that listens currently. If you're listening to this, then I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to people who are never going to hear this. But it's hard for me because to do this podcast costs me money every month. I'm not making money. I'm losing money doing it, but I enjoy doing it. I love talking about cooking. I think it's great. I wish more people would do it. But it's hard for me because of that factor. I had used, whatever. I'll go into it. Why not? Why not go into it? I've used a work bonus that I got from work, and I used that to pay for kind of the first 6 months to a year to be able to post this. It's got to be you've got to pay a little money to have your podcast distributed. So I post it to it. It's Buzzsprout is the name of the company. It's like $18 a month, and they send it out to all the platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, or whatever, iHeartRadio things. There's probably 20 different places that they send the podcast out to. And it costs about $20 a month. It's not a lot of money. That's a few times to the gas station in the morning, whatever. But but it's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, my daily gas station stop or whatever it cost me, it's not that expensive. But when you start adding it up and start really looking at it, it's like, okay, this is an expense that I don't have to have. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but this podcast is an expense that it's just so difficult for me. I want to keep going with it. I do plan to keep going with it, but I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I think Spotify makes it so that you can just upload for free, and because I don't have any advertisers, I don't have anything like that. I'm not big enough for any of that, and I think that some of the content is interesting enough. Maybe I think it is compared to whatever. I mean, I get that interviewing celebrities is interesting in a way, but there's nothing there. There's nothing, so I enjoy listening to people and I want to support people, although I say that I don't support anyone financially, any of the podcasts that I listen to. I wish I could. I just can't. And that's not where I'm at. And I'm not asking for any money. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying, I'm trying to be consistent with this. I wish it was something that would catch on enough to where I could make money off it, at least enough to make it sustainable and make it something that where it doesn't cost me anything. Then that'd be perfect. But that's not where I'm at, and so in full transparency, full honesty, that's where I'm at. It's a little difficult for me to keep up on it. And it's something that is costing me money. Again, it's not a lot. It's just another thing that I spend money on. And so I'm trying to figure out a way that I can do this and keep it to where it's a net zero. Net positive would be great, right? But I'd be happy with just breaking even. I'm not there yet. So thank you, and I say all that to say thank you so much for listening. I know there's a lot of people that do listen, or whatever, and to those people I say thank you. The people that consistently listen, and I love it. I like in just my small area. I don't really tell people that I do this podcast. Maybe that's part of the problem, but I don't really advertise it. I'm just doing it because it's fun to do. I love talking about cooking. And so that's it is interesting to me when I have it's so much fun when I have somebody come up, hey, I listened to your podcast, and I love listening to it when I'm mowing the lawn or whatever, and that is so cool. That's awesome. I love that, and I will always like that. I'm just trying to navigate this next step. So, again, in full transparency, I'm really trying to get video where I can put something on YouTube, put the podcast on YouTube with just a video. It's going to be me sitting wherever I record, but there's something to that. There's a whole thing with trying to just having video, and I get it. I like to watch if I'm sitting at my desk or something, I'm working on something, and maybe on one screen I can have a podcast playing. If there's a video option, I'm going to do that. Even if they're not, I'm not going to be cooking during the podcast, but there's something about being able to look at somebody when they're talking. I don't know why, but that's always more interesting. And so that's an option. YouTube is a free thing. Spotify has something. I'm looking into it. I'm going to continue. I'm going to try to continue to make put out these podcasts. And I just had a buddy of mine reach out to me a couple days ago that would be a very interesting conversation / interview. I do more conversation. It's not an interview. That I would love to have on. That would be great. That I would learn a lot, and anybody who listened would learn a lot. Again, like Johnny and having my brother Nate on, that's always so cool. So I would love to keep going on this. I just wanted to say that. I know it's been a few weeks since I've put out an episode, and so that is full honesty, full transparency from me. That's where I am at. And I want to push through it. Things that I have a personality. I'm slowly realizing and coming to accept the fact that I believe that I am an undiagnosed ADD person. For sure. For sure. I've got so many things, and I get excited about stuff, and I do it for a little while, and I lose interest for whatever reason. In my mind, this podcast is a great success, and by certain metrics, and things are, I get to talk about food and maybe a little supplemental income, and that's not the reality, but that doesn't mean that it's not something I still am passionate about or something that I still care about. So that's what I'm pushing myself towards. I appreciate all your comments that are helpful, and just it just makes me want to cook more. It makes me want to do different things, and I know that there's a need out there. There's people need to know, and so I like to have this even as minimal of a resource as what I'm providing, as minimal. Maybe not. That might not be the right way to say it. But even as little information as I'm really providing, I just look back to when I was first started cooking, and I think of those people where they're just starting to cook, and things can be frustrating, and it's so easy just to go out and buy something instead of making it yourself. Why bother? What's the point? I'll just buy it, And every time I would try to make something, it would not turn out or whatever. It would just be more hassle than it's worth. And I want to encourage those people, those young people. I don't think I'm really not that old. I think everybody at every stage of their life says that they don't feel old, but to certain people, I am old. Yeah, including some of the guys that I work with. And so I love encouraging them. And that's what this podcast is, to encourage the young people, or maybe you're somebody my age or even older, and you've just never done that. You've never cooked for yourself, and so I want to encourage you, because everybody can do it. I can do it. That means you can do it, and it's so much fun when what you start making just tastes so good, isn't it? You know what I'm talking about. If you're listening to me, I know you know what I'm talking about. So let's get into it. I don't know that I'm going to do the intro. That's one of the things I'm trying to revamp. Through this whole thing, I've been doing it 6 months. I appreciate if you're listening thus far. I really do. Because I'm just rambling, and I'm just airing my dirty laundry, so to speak. But to be honest with you, I'm working. I want to try to start doing some video. I don't know when that's going to happen. I can't say that that's going to be next week or next month, or when that transition is going to occur. There will still be an audio version available, no doubt, no matter what. But it would be great to have a video. But I've been trying to work on my intro stuff, and my I love playing music, and I want to get something. I'd love to play an intro thing and have a video where I get to use that cigar box guitar that Kathy made me. I haven't forgotten about that by any stretch. I'm just trying to find the right spot to use it, and not that it can't be used for anything that I want to do, but I think it would be awesome to record now. I can be loud, apparently. I can be loud, and I can be in your face, and I want to try to mellow it out a little bit. So I'm trying to write some stuff and play a little music that's going to be more set the mood type of situation. And that might be wrong. I want to be myself as well, and I will always do that. But I think I'm moving into kind of the next phase of what this podcast might look like, and that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. So, and when it's me talking to myself, trying to figure it out, it might take a little longer. So I appreciate your patience. I really do. But that being said, I'm not going to cue the intro or cue the music, but I'm going to get into the meals from last week. Now, this is the meals from multiple weeks, and I honestly, the paper, I have been doing pretty good. I've been keeping track. I mean, I've missed a few days here and there. The paper is in my truck. I don't feel like going out to my truck to find the list of everything that I've made, but I'm going to hit you with some of the, just a couple things that I've done. I've had, you can figure that I've had a lot of pizza, and that's accurate. I've had a lot of pizza. I had some, and, you just call it in. I've had a couple frozen pizzas thrown in the last few weeks, more than likely. I've had some Hungry Howie's. I've had some Russo's, a local place which has got some good pizza. The cost of pizza drives me nuts. I can't stand the fact that I do. You get they tell you your total, and you think, how lazy am I that I'm paying $50 for 2 pizzas and a breadstick? This is insane. I could have meals for 4 days on that amount of money, and here I am having one meal for that. So that's a hard thing that I don't know. But I love pizza, and I like it. Somebody makes it, and they can make it better than me. In all honesty, I have not perfected or taken the time to even attempt to perfect the pizza dough and toppings and all that. But that is something that this winter I want to work on, because, if you can make a pizza dough, which there's no if there, because that is definitely something we all can do. Make a pizza dough and even make a couple extra and put it in the freezer so you have it available, and then just have a marinara or a pizza sauce recipe made up and ready to go. I mean, then we're just talking some sausage and some pepperoni and ham or whatever type of toppings you like. I like jalapeno and all that stuff, and anchovies, and maybe don't need all that every time, but that's my preferred toppings. But we could all do that. So I know that over the last few weeks there has been multiple instances of pizza. There's been multiple instances of a store-bought frozen chicken from either Aldi or Walmart or Meijer, which is local to us, of frozen like orange chicken or General Tso's chicken. Make some rice and then have that along with it. That's fantastic. It's just insane. The cost of food, I don't need to, hopefully if you're listening to this, you want to learn how to cook, because the cost of food is so frustrating, and that's the way it is for me. I was at Walmart last week and spent $180. I think I came in my house with about 6 bags and nothing. I got food, but it wasn't anything. I mean, there's no reason it should have been that. It's insane what food costs. Even the one little thing of the orange chicken frozen, and that's just a breaded chicken, like a tempura batter pre-breaded chicken or whatever. You just take it out of the freezer, throw it in your oven for 20 minutes or whatever. Adds, I'm providing the rice. I got to buy that anyway. The chicken itself, it's $10 for, I eat more than I should, but I could easily eat the whole thing on my own. So I need two boxes of that, which means it's $20 plus the rice that I'm providing. And you start looking at that, and then when a pound of chicken seems expensive, even from a decent local place like where I get it at Otto's, where it's $6, $5 a pound of chicken, it's still, you start doing the math, and it's like, geez, I could buy 3 pounds of chicken for this same price as this half pound that I get here, or not even quite a pound. So, I always look at that. And that's a discipline that I'm constantly working on. It's something that I'm always thinking about, and in a place that it's just, it's just frustrating. You know it when you buy stuff, right? You're looking at the cost and like, man, I could make this for, even if it's not quite as good, I could make something pretty comparable for, at bare minimum, half the price. You could even buy the 2 pounds of chicken, spend $10 on that, and then spend $5 on some sort of pre-made orange chicken sauce that you'd pour over top, and you'd still be ahead $5. And it's stuff like that. It's hard, but it tastes good. It's a quick, easy thing. Whatever. We're all busy, right? All the excuses. That's what we have. We're busy. We can't make food. I've got them. You've got them. And so that's how that works. We're in America. That's why we're eating crap, a bunch of garbage. So I know that there's that in there, though. I know there's a lot of that. I did have some good stuff in there. One of the things I tried, I'm way behind on this. Excuse me, I got to take a drink here. One of the things that I tried that was good, I'm not going to lie to you, it's very good, was the viral chopped Italian sandwich, the Italian sub. And this is something that's been around for probably almost a year now. It's a viral thing, and I tried it myself. I made a variation on it, and not intentionally, but because I didn't remember off the top of my head when I was at the grocery store the different things. And it was really good, but I knew looking at it, when you look, there's some things you look at that you go, yeah, of course that's going to taste good. Why wouldn't, I don't know why this is viral now, maybe just because somebody assembled it in a different way. I think Subway was doing this for 30 years almost, but, it's pepperoni, salami, ham, provolone, whatever else, some tomatoes, some lettuce, and you're just finely chopping all this stuff, and then you take submarine or like a sub. It's an oil and vinegar mixture with some herbs in it that you can buy at the supermarket, and mix that in for maybe a little bit of mayonnaise, and you mix that in, you put it on a sub bun, and then you have that. And I did that, incredibly good, but I had no doubt that it would be. I love all those things. I did not have that submarine. I forget what the mixture is called, the oil and vinegar and herb mixture. I just had for whatever reason, when I was at the store and bought everything else, I had in my mind that it was Italian dressing, zesty Italian dressing that you mixed in with it. I already had that in the refrigerator, so that's what I used instead of the other stuff. The other stuff would work better with it, in all honesty. I would go with that, what the recipe would call for. I just didn't remember that that's what it was. I had, like I said, in my mind, I thought it was the Italian dressing. And so that's what I did. And it still was really good with just that. But how can you go wrong? You got meat, you got cheese, you got some tomatoes, you got lettuce, a little mayonnaise, a little dressing, and then a bun of whatever kind works for you. I even ended up for a couple days, because it made a fair amount of the mixture. For a couple days, I put it wrapped it up in a tortilla shell and made it like a wrap, and that was really good. It was really good, and so that was a worthwhile thing. And everybody who has seen it, you know what I'm talking about. You know it's going to taste good. How is that stuff not, right? I didn't have a lot of other, anything crazy. Some of the stuff I made before, some chicken. I do a lot of chicken, and we had some beef. We had some tacos. I had over Labor Day weekend, we went with up north with some friends, and we had burgers, and we had like an appetizer thing where we just had a night of appetizers. For that, I made personally some pinwheels. I've been doing it. My daughter absolutely loves it. I love it. If you've never had them, we actually had another mom of a daughter in my daughter's class, a friend of my daughter's. I think that might make sense if you can figure that out. My daughter's friend ate some of my daughter's lunch and told her mom about it. And her mom texts my wife asking what was in it, because her daughter came home and said she had she had these pickle wraps and they were so good. Well, it wasn't anything complicated, and rarely is it, right? Sometimes it is, but not often, and this was no exception. I brought these up north for the appetizer. They're good. Take some cream cheese. Take a block of cream cheese if you're just going to do a little bit. 1 block of cream cheese. I like to throw like a heavy spoonful of mayonnaise in there too. With a softened cream cheese. Take a mixer, or you can do it with a fork and blend it. If you actually let your cream cheese soften, unlike me who lets it soften for about 10 minutes and then I just can't wait any longer. So I use an electric mixer, whip it together till everything's combined, and pour about 1/3 of a package of ranch, dry ranch seasoning in there. And then I dice dill pickles and ham incredibly as small as you can, as much as you are willing to dice to make them as small as you can. Do that. So I'll do the pickle. Obviously, I'll do them separate. I'll dice up all the pickles, get them incredibly small, almost a relish. You probably could buy a dill pickle relish and save yourself some time. I don't, but I just chop up dill pickles, and then I chop up some ham and get that into both of them into as fine of a dice as I can, or until I'm sick of cutting, and then put them in with the cream cheese, the ranch, and a little bit of mayonnaise. You don't have to do the mayonnaise. Mix it all together, incorporate everything, get it all mixed together, and then you're just spreading that across a tortilla, roll it up, and then cut it across the short ways into about 1-inch chunks. They're pinwheels. If you've looked up pinwheels on Pinterest or anywhere, seen that, it's like a dill pickle and ham pinwheel. And so that's what it makes a great appetizer. I've done them before, like Italian pinwheels with a little salami, little pepperoni, little ham. Do that cream cheese ranch mixture, even, and it's still good. It still works well for that. Maybe you don't need the ranch seasoning. If you don't want, you could just do the straight up cream cheese, or season that how you would like. If you want to do something taco-ish or whatever, if you got that, like I said, that Italian, you can throw some basil in there, some spinach or whatever. But it's a great way to use up some lunch meat type of things. You can do a turkey and some cheddar or whatever. I mean, I've done one before where I had that cream cheese and I had a cranberry, like a cranberry mixture, not the jelly, but something that actually had chunks of cranberry in it, and mixed that up and did that with turkey and a little bit of cheese. I don't remember if it was, I think it was a sharp white cheddar maybe. And that just makes a great appetizer. It's a good thing to chew on. And there's different, if you want to get a little more into it, you can get some of the spinach wraps, like the tortillas that have spinach mixed in them, or different flavors of tortilla that you can buy. Make them yourself, you're even better. But that's one of the things we had, up north. I brought that for an appetizer again. That's been, at least we're only a few weeks into school, and my daughter's been taking those a couple days a week. It's a great, easy thing to make ahead and then spread out the night before and kind of get it with the tortilla. It handles that. It's not a liquid, but that mixture. And it's not like having a sandwich where you put something on it and it gets soggy as it sits overnight, I guess is my point to that. So anything with a tortilla or some kind of wrap is a great school lunch. It makes for a great lunch, any kind of a cold lunch, if you're at a job where you don't have access to a microwave or whatever. So I did that. We had a little bit of pork, some different stuff. I'm trying to think, I had some baked potatoes mixed in with some, make some chicken, have some baked potatoes and do stuff like that. There are a lot of things. Again, I can't encourage you any more than I already have, although I will try and continue talking and encouraging you to write down these things that you make for dinner. It's great. I've got this. I'm almost through the pad of paper that I have just by doing it. And I missed a few days here and there. I've not let that discourage me. And it can be discouraging because I missed a few days and I can't remember back to, I'm like, man, I cannot remember what I made. And it's easy to go, well, I had a good run. I forgot the last 4 days. And so that's it. I'm done. All right, we got this to look. And so I've just been, okay, I missed a few days. Let's keep going. Let's start back up because I want to keep this running. This is something that's interesting, that's helpful, very helpful. And how am I going to know, how am I going to see patterns, right? If I don't write it down, I can't. It's hard for me to remember a week and a half ago, much less 6 months ago, what we did. And if you're a person that's very good in keeping receipts and doing that, well, whatever. That's not me. So, yeah, we had that. We had burgers. We had tacos up at the cabin for Labor Day. That was great. Some of the other things I've had. Let's see. Ramen. I mentioned before that ramen's a good cheap meal, a good budget-friendly meal. That was something that we have done in the last week. Did some ramen with poached egg. I love a poached egg. And adding that protein to the ramen It makes it good. It was an instant ramen from the package, one of the cheap ones. I forget the name of the brand, but make that up and then poach some eggs, put that in there. I had a little bit of sweet chili sauce, little soy sauce, whatever you want to add to it. Ramen's kind of a blank canvas type of a thing, and add that extra, some onion, some different stuff, and it's just really good. And then I made recently this past week I made some tortellini. This is a great go-to recipe that is not a recipe in the way that it's something that I stick to. I don't really deal much with recipes. If you listen for a while, you might recognize that or know that. I am more of a general idea type of a cook, and because that's the way I am, I can argue why that's a good way to cook. But the tortellini that I did kind of falls into that category, in that I was walking through the store and I saw some dried tortellini, some cheese-filled tortellini, and I knew I had some tomato sauce at home. I got some heavy cream, and I picked up some andouille sausage. You can use andouille sausage. You can use kielbasa, smoked sausage, any of those type of things. And I picked up some fresh spinach, and I already had some onion and some garlic at home, so I sauteed some onion and garlic in butter, and then I put the andouille sausage in that, and then this is all in a Dutch oven. And then after that, I added some, what did I add? Oh, I kind of pre-cooked the tortellini like al dente, but maybe a little short of al dente, so it's fairly hard yet, but I boiled it in some water, and then I had some pasta water kind of that I could use too. And once the garlic and the onion and the sausage were kind of cooked up, I threw also sweated down some, I don't know if sweated down is the correct term, but some spinach. That's got a lot of moisture in there. There's a lot of water in there, and it cooked down quite a bit. I actually pulled that. I did that in a separate pan and pulled it, put it on some paper towel to try and drain some of the water, and I chopped it into small pieces just because I didn't want big pieces of spinach in the dish. And then that tortellini, once it kind of was almost all the way cooked, I scooped it out with a spider spoon type thing, lets the water drain out the bottom. Put that in there, put the tomato sauce, and you can use a straight up tomato sauce that you buy. You can use a jarred spaghetti sauce, whatever you want to use. Depends on how much flavor you want to add or what flavors you want to have to add if you're doing a straight up sauce, as opposed to something that's already like a jarred spaghetti sauce is already going to have a few different flavors in there, so you're not going to need to add quite as many spices or herbs after the fact. But you put that in there and let that tomato start to cook, and then I put some heavy cream in there a little bit just to loosen it up, because I like to let things cook. The flavors intensify as things cook down, and as they I can't think of the word, as they not consolidate, as they concentrate maybe. But as you cook down and the liquid burns off or cooks off or boils off, simmers off, the flavors tend to intensify. So I like to let something simmer, especially anything in a sauce like that, or just let it simmer for a little while, and it just intensifies the flavors. And it's weird because even after, so I did the pasta or the tomato sauce, the heavy cream, and then I actually scooped a few ladles full of that pasta water into the pot as well. So it's a pretty loose mixture as far as the sauce is concerned, and then put the spinach in there and everything. But as that cooks down, even though you're adding water to it, because I think, so in my mind, I think of you got a tomato sauce, and then you want to cook off the liquid a little bit, boil it off, simmer it off. So you want the flavor to intensify. So if you add water to it, like a pasta water, that's just going to dilute it that much more, and the flavor is going to kind of dissipate and not be as strong when you dilute it with water. And there's some truth to that, but there's something about the starches in the pasta water and everything. Adding water to it, you get a little bit of that pasta water flavor in there, and it really did not take away. You just let it, maybe I got to let it simmer for an extra 5 minutes just to evaporate that water that I added, basically, but it still turned out fantastic, and it was a great meal. The combination, and that's what this episode I'm going to get into here next is about, is a cream sauce. I just love a cream sauce, and the combination of tomato and a cream, like heavy cream or a sour cream or a cream cheese or whatever, that it just goes so well together. It's just so, I think it's fantastic, and it works great with a pasta. There's something about either a cream sauce with a pasta of some kind and cheese, or a tomato sauce with pasta obviously goes so well together, and you marry the two, and to me it is perfect. I love, and I think that's like more of a vodka sauce. I could be way off base here, and I'm not going to look it up and whatever, but I think a vodka sauce has got cream in it, and it's a tomato-based sauce with a little bit of cream in it, and that's, to me, that's like perfect. I love a tomato sauce, and I'll eat tomato sauce with a pasta every time, but a little bit of cream in it, and I think it's just puts it over the top. And so that's what I did, and that's a great meal, and it makes a ton of food. It really does. If you're a two-person family, and or even a one-person, and you're making something like this, it can really go a long way, and you have multiple days. As it was, we had multiple days worth of food just off that one. I mean, a pound of the tortellini, and then you also pretty much have half pound. I don't know what the sausage comes in, but you got the sausage. Man, you could throw some pepperoni in there, and this is a great recipe for dressing up and burning up some vegetables. It seems like trying to just get rid of stuff, but it's not. I mean, I love green pepper or jalapeno in this dish as well. Saute that with your onion and with your garlic, or if for whatever reason you don't have garlic, you only have onion, go ahead and make it anyway. It's a great way to just use up some of those vegetables. Put whatever. You put carrots in there, it's still going to be good. Some mushrooms would go well in this, and yeah, it's just a great dish. So I would strongly suggest giving that a try if that's not something that you have ever considered. It's a go-to for me. It really is. And all I need to, there's minimal items I need to keep on hand, but it makes a great meal. And a little bit of garlic bread or some sort of buttered toast or whatever alongside of it just makes it that much better. What are the white trash? Garlic bread, a little toast with butter and a little garlic powder, a little garlic salt, maybe some onion powder on there as well. Throw a little Parmesan. Oh my goodness, I'm getting hungry now. That's some good eating. That'll get me every time. All right, that's kind of it for the last few weeks. I mean, like I said, that's I skipped over some stuff. There's things I'm not perfect. I'm not constantly I can't skip over with this one. This is not a meal, but this is something this is why I do this podcast. Not in that's stupid. This is not why I do this podcast, but this is part of the thing. My son has never listened to a single podcast of mine. My son and daughter have asked me to listen to the podcast, and I don't want to listen to myself. And I said, well, you're going to have to ask somebody else to listen to it when you're with them, because I'm not doing it. But one of the things, my son has gotten into cooking with me, and I am all about that. And I want to put my son, my daughter, in a place where they can make their own food. When they're away from me, that they can cook, I want to set them up for success and to eat well and to eat healthy and do better than I've done. We all want better for our kids, right? And so I want to do that. So my son, his favorite place to go is the library because he loves reading books. He's 9. He loves reading books, and he would one of those kids where if you want to punish him, take away books. And he loves going to the library. And he always gets a cookbook, and he got excited about a cookbook that he got, and there were some lemon bars in there. These were very simple lemon bars, and so he and I both made those for dessert. I've got a couple left in the refrigerator right now. It's a shortbread crust, lemon zest. I bought 4 lemons. We got zest from a lemon, some lemon juice. There was a little bit of eggs in there, I believe, almost a custardy type situation going on. No cream, but there was eggs in there. I don't remember, a little baking powder in the crust, a little sugar. But just a cool thing. I love fruit-based desserts. They're my favorite. I could never eat chocolate again in my life, and I guarantee I wouldn't miss it even. I wouldn't even notice. But a fruit-based dessert I'm all about that. I'm here for that. And so, while I wasn't super excited about necessarily making this dessert in particular, I was excited about it because my son wanted to do it. This was a recipe he flipped to, and for whatever reason, he said, this sounds good. And so we did that, which was awesome. And, so that's, I made that. We made that. That was his idea. We made it. Another great thing. Because that's my one of the things that one of the very few things that I hope that my kids take away from me is a love for making food and making desserts. Hey, there are some. I'd love to get a good baker, and because I can bake stuff a little bit, but I don't have the patience. If you could make some good croissants, my son and I also have made. Was it meringue? Not meringue. Meringue's not the word. I can't. You need to make a meringue to make the cookies. But anyway, so that was another thing I got to do this week. So it was really cool. But that was last week. I know I don't have the music playing, but the meals from last week. I try not to do it so loud that it's like incredibly annoying. I get that because you don't knock your ears out. Today, this episode, minor, in the last little bit of time that we have left, I just wanted to go over the one meal that I made: pork chops, some roasted asparagus and potatoes, and the star of the show, in all honesty, was the mushroom cream sauce that I made. I keep hammering on the cream. I've said that multiple times in this episode, and I've said it before, and I'm telling you right now, as somebody who's not perfect on my meats all the time, if you can learn to make a cream sauce, or a sauce in general, I lean towards cream sauce. Maybe that's just the easiest one that is for me. It's definitely a flavor that I love, so that's where I lean. But if you can, a good sauce can hide a lot of ugly. Can hide a lot of ugly in your protein. And I made pork chops. These were good pork chops. There have been many occasions where I bought pork chops from the supermarket that were little gray hockey puck looking pork chops. These were ones that I had gotten from work, from a real straight off the pig, and they were very good pork chops, so that helps. But a good cream sauce, and there have been many. So one of the go-to recipes when my wife and I first got married, and it still tastes good, and you'll get me to the dinner table with it because I'll eat, is pork chops with a cream of mushroom soup. Put it in, and I'm telling you, we would put pork chops in the pan with cream of mushroom soup in the oven at 350 or whatever it might be, 350, 400, until everything was cooked through. No other seasoning, no other whatever. When it came out and when we'd eat it at the table, we would sprinkle some lemon pepper on there. And hey, that tastes good. I mean, cream of mushroom soup does have a decent flavor to it. However mild, no seasoning really, no salt, but we would have that probably once a week for years. I would just so love to a new married couple to say, write down do this meal, what you do for dinner. I wish I could see what I made the first 5 years of marriage even. The amount of pork chops and cream of mushroom soup we ate was insane. But it's an easy meal, right? It's simple, especially when you do it that way. But you can make it taste so much better and doing it this way, and it's elevated. I'm talking first class dining situation here. And that's what we did. So as far as the pork chops themselves, I do with any protein, and you can do this with chicken, you can do it with beef, and you can do it with pork. And the way I do it, I'll take a cast iron skillet, and if you don't have cast iron, that's fine. Do a nonstick pan or whatever, but on the stove, get that thing rip-roaring hot and sear the outside of your protein, whatever it is. In my case, this is pork. And I would sear until it browns, so you're only a couple minutes per side. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Sear both sides. These pork chops are about 3/4 of an inch thick, and so they don't really take too long. Any of these proteins if you overcook anything, they get tough, right? It gets tough. It gets chewy. It's just not quite as good. So the big thing with meat is to hit the right temperature. And you want to make sure it's cooked through, right? We don't want to get sick, especially with chicken. We want to hit 160. With pork, you want to hit 145, 150, I don't know, somewhere around there. Look it up. Don't just take my word for it. Look up what the safe temperature is. But you want that browned crust, that seared outside is so good. And the key to that is getting a pan nice and hot. Again, I've got the oven preheated to 400 degrees. Couple minutes on each side. I prefer butter, maybe butter and a little bit of olive oil in the pan. I always do at minimum salt and pepper on the meat before I put it in the pan. Both sides heavily seasoned. Heavily salt, heavy on the pepper, sometimes a little garlic. Depends what garlic powder. It depends on what I'm doing. I also, you don't want to burn the garlic powder, but salt and pepper for sure. And sear that. Get it brown. What pork chops have, if it's a real pork chop or whatever, you're going to have some fat on there. So you want to get a good browning on that, and you want that fat to kind of render a little bit. It's something that you can eat pretty easily typically. It's not going to be big and chewy on there. But brown your meat, couple minutes each side, check the temperature, see what it's at. More than likely, if only a couple minutes each side, it's going to be around 120 degrees. Not edible, not where you want to eat it, unless you want to get sick and hang out and eat some hospital food for a while. So put it in the oven then for maybe 10 minutes, something like that, at 400 degrees until it gets to that internal temp it needs to be. For pork chops, get around 150, something like that, about 10 minutes. And that's all that takes. Now, my oven was already preheated because I got some of those fingerling type potatoes, those small little potatoes. These were Redskin ones. And asparagus. My son was asking for asparagus. Again, he's one that will not eat any vegetables, and then supposedly he loves asparagus. Okay, I'll get asparagus, but you better eat it. And yep, I'll eat it. That's my favorite. Sure. Okay. He ate some of it. So that's a win. But I got some potatoes and I got the asparagus. So I already had the oven going at about 425, and I just tossed both the potatoes and the asparagus together. Now, if I'm going to be honest with you, which I am, my asparagus was overcooked. Okay, I mixed them together in with some olive oil, some salt, a little bit of pepper, shook them up in a bowl so everything was coated, and put them on a sheet pan and put those in the oven. Now, the potatoes take Those small potatoes take about 45 minutes at that temperature, somewhere around there. And the asparagus by that point gets overcooked and was crispy. But, it was good. It's not my preferred texture or whatever, but for a roasted asparagus, there was some store-bought stuff that, in all honesty, they were very thin strips of asparagus, very thin stalks, and maybe a 1/4 inch thick, maybe. And so they almost turned into potato chips. Obviously not potato. They turned into like asparagus crisps. Like if you've ever had dried seaweed, like the chips that they have kind of that are seaweed chips or kale chips or whatever. It was like that. A lot of them got roasted so far overcooked that they turned into a crunchy asparagus, which was actually, they tasted good. They really did. Not what I was shooting for by any means, but the potatoes were cooked perfectly. But apparently potatoes and asparagus have different cook times. Okay. So just be aware of that. You could definitely put the potatoes in 20 minutes later, then put your asparagus in, or half hour later, put your asparagus in. And you might achieve the desired texture. But this, it turned out fine. It still tasted good. They weren't burned. They were overly browned. They were very crispy, but they taste really good. Excuse me again. I'm gonna have a drink. I know you're not supposed to drink on a podcast, but it's my podcast, okay? So I'm gonna have a quick sip. So that ended up being really good. Roasted vegetables are the way to go. A long time ago, I said, I don't like roasting things, blah, blah, blah. I was wrong. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I was wrong. Roast your vegetables. Oh, it's so good. I feel like I'm not cooking. I'm just heating stuff up, but it's so good. Makes such a good flavor. The last component of this meal was what was probably the best, the absolute best part of it. I've said before, learn to make a sauce. Earlier this episode, learn to make a sauce, learn to make a cream sauce. You can hide a lot of ugly. If you don't have a lot of ugly, you just get a phenomenal complement to your dish. And that's what this sauce was. So I love mushrooms. I love onion. I love garlic. Love it. Absolutely. I could eat, you put a little butter in there, cook that up. I could eat that for a meal, no doubt. But I wanted something to go along with, I wanted a sauce to go along with the pork chop. I don't like a store-bought steak sauce, or I've never been a big steak sauce person. If that's my only option, okay. But I like a gravy sauce type of a thing that somebody makes. 10 out of 10 before I'll pick up a jar of A1. I think that too many men in particular, because men are always the ones that are the king of the grill, blah, blah, blah. Too many men rely on A1 to hide their ugly. Seriously. It's a cheap cut of meat, a bad cut of meat, an overcooked cut of meat with A1. I said it. Hot take. Don't care. If I need to drown my stuff in A1 to make it taste good, sorry, you did a crap job. But I will make a sauce anytime I make a meat, because I know that my cook job might not have been perfect, and I just love a good sauce. I love a good sauce. But this is one, along with a pork steak, that was just fantastic. Do it, and it would be perfect. It would go good with chicken. Maybe not a great sauce to do with a beef. I'm not huge on pairings as far as what type of vegetables, and definitely not wine. Although I could recommend a beer or two, but a cream sauce with a white meat, with like chicken or with pork, is just great. And this one, learn to make it. Try to make it. I can't say it enough. I'll continue to say it. If you've never made it, cream sauce, try it now. Try it tomorrow. Try it this week, because it is going to taste so good and just make your just do it, okay? Just do it. So to make this cream sauce, I had some garlic. This is garlic I got from my buddy Johnny. It is so good. Such good garlic, big cloves, whatever. You don't got a buddy named Johnny, get it from the grocery store. Mince up some garlic nice and fine, and saute that in some butter along with some onion. Use whatever onion you've got. If you've got a Vidalia onion or a Spanish onion, that's probably what I'd lean towards, something on the sweeter side of an onion. If you've got red or you got white onion and that's all you have, just use it. It's going to taste great, and nobody's going to complain. But saute that down. Let it sweat out. Let it go for a while. Put the onion in first. Let that sweat. We don't want to burn garlic, so we're going to put that in after the onions, pretty much to the point where it is ready. And on top of that, I use a lot of butter. This is sauteing in butter, maybe a little bit of olive oil. And then I cut up a bunch of mushrooms, put mushrooms in the pan, and let those sweat down, low and slow. Let them go, low and slow. I want these things to, I want the flavor to be condensed and consolidated to a small amount of leftover food. Whatever that is in the pan, I want the moisture cooked out. So your mushrooms have a lot of water in them too, and that will start to cook out. After that cooks out and everything's sweated down a ton, I put in about a pint of heavy cream. Now you could do this if you wanted a thicker, and honestly mine ended up pretty thick. But if you wanted to, you could sprinkle about a tablespoon of flour just to absorb some of that butter, some of that moisture, and let that cook and kind of mix that in and let that cook down, because that butter is going to, the flour is going to start to kind of cook. You don't want raw flour in there, but it's going to start to kind of cook down a little bit. It's going to have a nutty smell to it. And as it mixes with the butter especially, you're basically then making a roux inside your pan along with the other vegetables, the garlic, the mushroom, the onion. I didn't use flour. I just went straight heavy cream, let that come to a simmer, and then I added like a full tablespoon of Dijon mustard into it. So this is a mustard cream sauce. I say that if you're not somebody who really likes mustard, it can be off-putting. Like, I don't want my sauce, anything to taste like mustard. I'm telling you, you want it to taste. You need to add this Dijon mustard. Put a little Grey Poupon in there, or whatever brand, store brand, I don't care, of Dijon mustard that you have, or even a French's spicy mustard, spicy brown mustard, whatever. Just a little shot of that in with that cream sauce. And mix that up and let that kind of, let it cook for a little while. Let it get hot. Again, we're simmering off some of the moisture. Now, I looked at this sauce and I thought, my kids are not going to eat the mushrooms because they say they don't like mushrooms, even though I know they would like them if they gave them a try. Texture thing, blah, blah, blah. I get it. They're kids. Some adults are kids. They don't like the texture of mushrooms and blah, blah, blah. Salt, pepper. Don't forget salt and pepper in your seasoning throughout. Every layer, every onion, salt, pepper. You put the mushrooms in, salt and pepper. Anyway, so I thought to myself, I know I will turn this into a puree. And that's exactly what I did. And what ended up happening is I put it in a jar, bowl, whatever you have. I have an immersion blender thing, little blender on a stick is all that is, and I put it in a jar and I blended this up. Because of the amount of mushrooms that I had, it turned into a relatively thick sauce. Put a little bit of Parmesan. I put a little bit of Parmesan in there with that too. Goes so well with the cream sauce. Do it. And it ended up being a fairly thick sauce, like almost like a puree. I think I could have called it a puree, one, because I blended it, and so that's, kind of blending stuff. All of a sudden you can call it a puree. But if I would have put it in a bag and squeezed it out of squeezed it out of a bag into little dollops or something like that, or took the spoon and smeared it across under my pork chop, I could have easily, that's how thick this sauce was, if you can imagine that. Wasn't really much of a it was thicker than a gravy, a little bit thinner than a normal puree. Could have passed as a puree. But that blended everything up, and I've just got this sauce that looks kind of, you can't see whole mushrooms, so my kids ate it and loved it, and they like, what is this sauce? And it's like, yep, that's mushrooms and onion and, all that stuff you don't like, right? But they loved it. I loved it. It was so good, and I just can't. Just do it. Make a cream sauce. Heavy cream. Go out next time, buy heavy cream, get a little Dijon mustard, and you've got butter, you've got onion, you've got garlic. Even if you don't have the mushrooms, you don't need mushrooms in this. I just wanted a mushroom sauce. That mushroom does add a little bit of a flavor. It's great. But I've made this exact sauce, minus the mushrooms. That's fine. I love mushrooms. So if it was just me, and there's no need to blend it, right? It's all the same flavors, whatever. There's no need to blend it into a nice smooth sauce. You can just do, leave it all whole, leave the chunks of mushroom, chunks of onion, and have it that way. Maybe throw a little herb in there. If you've got some parsley or some rosemary, rosemary goes really good. If this was a chicken dish, some fresh rosemary in there would have been fantastic. But this was pork. It would be good with rosemary. Would be good with pork too. But I didn't add any fresh herbs. Okay, so I don't know. Try that seriously. Really, really, really can't suggest it enough. Make a cream sauce. Do it. Tell me how you do it. Tell me how it turned out. Especially if you've never made a cream sauce before, I want you to make a Dijon mustard and heavy cream sauce. Make it. Tell everyone how good it was, because I guarantee that there is no way that you're going to try it and say, that was disgusting. Not happening. Never happening. And it's just so good. And it even is good as a sauce to dip your potatoes and your asparagus and your pork chop in. Oh, man. I'm ready to eat some right now. Right now. So thanks. I appreciate you listening. Look, I know that I rambled at the beginning, and I'm going to try to do better and get back on being consistent. I really am. I appreciate if you're listening to this right now and you've made it this far, right to the end. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you. But I am. And I thank you so much for supporting me and just by listening. And I do that for many podcasts. I just, like I said at the beginning, I just want to be honest with you and where I'm at, and I'm trying to keep it going. I really am, and I'm going to do my best. But know that no matter what, I am excited to cook, and I hope you are too, and that you can cook well and you can make some really good food. And we all have the ability. God gave us skills, and we can learn. Skills are something that can be learned, right? And the cooking is just one in the arsenal that many of us have, and I'm just excited to talk about it, as always. So leave me a comment. Seriously, if you're trying it for the first time especially, and if you're a person who uses a cream sauce as a crutch in a way that I do, let me know too, because I'm right there with you. And so thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you next time.